Hey guys, this is Jason with ComicCryptoStock. Today I'm going to show you my best way to ship raw comics. Okay, so what I do is I use a Gemini mailer. I basically recycle these from any books that I get. I also use either a heavy-duty plastic bag, or you can get these kind of fiber envelopes from the post office, and they're free, so free is good. Next, I have these 3 books that we're going to go ahead and ship. And what I like to do is make sure you don't line up all the spines on one side. So what I'm going to do is flip one of these over. It's 3 books, so I'm going to have to be forced to have 2 spines on one side. I like to keep the books with the bag and board with the boards on the outside. That's just a little more protection. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and slide this into this envelope. And what we want to kind of accomplish is putting these in really tight, so that they kind of act like a brick. We want to take all the slack out of the package and put it really tight, and that's going to hold all those books together. I also like to use masking tape. Like this blue masking tape is really good because it's not super sticky, and you don't want people to have to fight a sea of tape when they're unboxing these. I also like to put little tape pulls and make it easier for someone to, get their comics out. You don't want them to have to struggle at getting their books out, because they could possibly damage them, and you don't want to, force someone into that. Okay, so I took all the slack out in the one direction. We'll take all the slack out in this direction. And you don't need to put a whole bunch of tape. I mean, a couple pieces is fine. You don't want someone to have to really, dig into this thing to try and get rid of all of the tape. All right, so now these books are held tight together. They're not going to slide around. And then what I have done is I've pre-cut some cardboard, and I basically make it about a ½ inch bigger than the bag and board with the book in it. And then we can take this package here, and we're going to center that within the first cardboard. And the same thing, I just keep putting tape pulls. I like to do tape pulls everywhere on the inside of the package, because just make it easy for the person to get the stuff out. And I've unboxed stuff before where people put 100 pieces of tape, and it's not doing anyone any favors, trust me. I've had stuff where it's taken me 10 minutes to unbox something because someone put so much tape that I'm literally scared that I'm going to hurt books by yanking on pieces of tape. And especially if there's no tape pulls on it, it can get pretty hairy. All right, so I put 4 pieces of tape holding this in. We got tape pulls everywhere, so it's going to be real easy for someone to get this out. Then I'm going to take the next piece of cardboard and stick it right on top like that, and then I'm going to tape these 2 pieces of cardboard together. Same thing, I'll keep with the tape pulls. Now, if you're this method is good for probably, you can go maybe even up to 6 books in that Gemini mailer. If you're only shipping 1 book, then I do the same thing, and then I keep adding cardboard till I get the thickness to where the books are really tight within that Gemini mailer. You don't want anything to move around within that Gemini mailer. I had a pair of, I think it was 5 books that was shipped in the Gemini mailer, and they were all loose. So even though it was in a Gemini mailer, and those things are usually, fairly bulletproof, because the books were loose, they all slid around within the Gemini mailer, and the corners got banged up, and I had to end up returning the books. You guys don't want to have to deal with returns. The books that I had got, they were, it was like $25 a book, so it's $125 there, and someone is going to have to, eat those books. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have people send stuff back to you. All right, so now we can take this and go ahead and stick it in one of our Gemini mailers. And I'm going to test this to see that it's tight. It is nice and tight, so I don't have to add any more cardboard. Like I said, if you were doing maybe one book, then you might need to add some cardboard. So this whole thing, I can shake it and nothing is moving. That is really key. You want you know, to have a little bit of pressure there. Now, with the Gemini mailer, I'm okay with putting some packing tape on that, because at this point, I'm not too worried about people damaging the books. Okay, so this thing is nice and solid now. Now my next secret is these legal flat rate mailers, okay? So you don't have to worry about the weight of this. I've seen people ship a comic book in bubble wrap because they're trying to keep the weight down. And that's how those other ones got damaged. So we don't care how much this weighs. You don't have to keep it to a certain weight. It'll slide right in one of these legal flat rate envelopes, and that's $7. Now, some of the Gemini mailers I've seen have a little bit more of an overhang here, and they don't fit easily into the flat rate envelope. And if you need to, you can just cut like a 1/4 inch off the top and bottom of the overhang, and believe me, you're still fine. I believe this one is going to fit okay, and it does. So we slide that in there like this. Close this sucker up. I like to also throw one more piece of tape over the post office's seal, because I figure it's some cheap insurance. All right, so this is basically ready to go. And even though the envelope's got these corners here that are flimsy, that actually gives you a little extra padding for potential impacts. This is thick enough to where no postman is going to be able to bend this sucker. I still will write "do not bend" on both sides of this, and then I'll go ahead and put the packing information here, and I'll tape over that as well, just to protect it. But this method, you guys will not be dealing with returns. You're not going to be dealing with damaged books. And you're shipping this for $7. It's priority. They're going to have it in a couple days, and you're not going to be sitting here worrying, you know, are my books getting lost in the mail, getting damaged. I don't like to send stuff media mail. It's just not worth saving the extra couple dollars with the post office banging the stuff around for another 3 or 4 days. All right, guys, so if this video helped you, please like, comment, share, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.